Hello friends and welcome to my biology online classes for class 11. This is the second video of the series Morphology of Flowering Plants. In the previous video, we had studied the vegetative parts of a flowering plant, that is, the root, the stem and the leaf. In this video, we shall discuss the topics the inflorescence, the flower and its various parts, that is, the calyx, corolla, Androecium and Gynoecium, and types of placentation. I am Kirti Shrivastava, PGT Biology, KV number 3, Jhansi. The flower is a modified shoot, wherein the shoot apical meristem changes into floral meristem. The apex produces different kinds of floral appendages, namely the sepals, petals, stamens and carpels laterally at successive nodes instead of leaves. The arrangement of flowers on the floral axis is termed as inflorescence. The internodes on the floral axis do not elongate and the axis gets condensed. When a shoot tip transforms into a flower, it is always solitary. Depending on whether the apex gets converted into a flower or it continues to grow, the inflorescences are of two main types. Number 1, the racemose inflorescence, and number 2, the cymose inflorescence. In racemose inflorescence, the main axis continues to grow indefinitely, whereas in the cymose inflorescence, the main axis terminates in flower having limited growth. In racemose inflorescence, the flowers are borne laterally in an acropetal succession. That is, the development of the flowers is from base towards the apex as in case of radish and mustard. Whereas in cymose inflorescence, the flowers are borne in a basipetal succession. That is, the development of the flowers is from apex towards the base as in case of jasmine and bougainvillea. Flower is the reproductive unit of an angiospermic plant and helps in carrying out sexual reproduction. A typical flower has 4 whorls arranged on the swollen end of the stalk or a pedicel called as the receptacle or the thalamus. These 4 whorls are calyx, which are made up of sepals, the corolla, which is made up of petals, Androecium, which is made up of stamens, which in turn is made up of anther and the filament, and Gynoecium, made up of ovary, style and stigma. Calyx and corolla are the accessory whorls, whereas Androecium and Gynoecium are the essential whorls or reproductive organs. In some flowers, the calyx and corolla are not distinct, and the structures are termed as the perianth. When a flower has both Androecium and Gynoecium, the flower is said to be bisexual or a hermaphrodite, and the flower having either Androecium or Gynoecium only is called as a unisexual flower. Let us now discuss the symmetry of the flower. The symmetry of the flower is called as actinomorphic when the flower can be divided into 2 equal halves in any radial plane passing through the center as shown in the figure below. Examples of actinomorphic flowers are mustard, dhatura and chili. When flowers can be divided into 2 similar halves only in one particular plane, it is said to be zygomorphic, as in case of pansy, pea, gulmohar, beans and cassia. A flower is asymmetric if it cannot be divided into 2 equal halves through any vertical plane passing through the center. For example, the canna flower. Here are some more scientific terms used to describe a flower. If the floral appendages are in multiples of 3, the flower is said to be trimerous. For example, Allium cepa or onion, which has got appendages in multiples of 3. If the floral appendages are in multiples of 4, the flower is said to be tetramerous, as in case of mustard. While if the floral appendages are in multiples of 5, the flower is said to be pentamerous, as in case of vinca rosea or sadabahar and hibiscus. If the flower has reduced leaf at the base of the pedicel, it is called as a bracteate flower. A very good example of bracteate flower is bougainvillea, in which the bracts are beautifully colored, which help in attracting the insects for pollination, as the flower is very small and white in color. If the flower lacks a bract, it is termed as ebracteate. We shall now learn some scientific terms to describe the flower on the basis of position of ovary with respect to other floral parts on the thalamus. The flower is said to be hypogynous when the gynoecium occupies the highest position, while the other parts are situated below it. The ovary in such case is superior. Example, the flower of mustard, China rose and brinjal are all hypogynous flowers. In perigynous flowers, the gynoecium is situated at the center, and the other parts are located on the rim of the thalamus. At the same height, the ovary is called as half inferior or perigynous. Examples of perigynous flowers are that of rose, plum and peach. Epigynous flowers have the margin of the thalamus which grows upwards and closing the ovary completely and fuses with the ovary wall. Ovary is said to be inferior in this case. Examples of epigynous flowers are that of cucumber and guava. Let us now discuss some scientific terms to describe the various parts or appendages of an angiospermic flower. The first one is the calyx, which is the outermost whorl of the flower, and its members are called as the sepals. They are generally green and leafy and protect the flower in bud condition. If the sepals are fused, they are called as chemosepalous, and if the sepals are free, the terminology used is polysepalous. Let us now discuss the corolla. Corolla consists of the petals which are brightly colored so that the insects are attracted for pollination. If the petals are fused, the condition is called as gamopetalous, and if the petals are free, the condition is called as polypetalous. Now, the mode of arrangement of petals and sepals in the floral bud with respect to the other members of the same whorl is called as the aestivation. Now, depending upon the mode of arrangement of sepals and petals in the floral bud with respect to the other members, the aestivation is of 4 types. Number 1, the valvate aestivation. Number 2, the twisted aestivation. Number 3, the imbricate aestivation. And number 4, the vexillary or papilionaceous aestivation. In valvate aestivation, the whorls of sepals and petals touch each other without overlapping, as in case of calotropis. In twisted aestivation, the whorls overlap each other, as in case of China rose or lady's finger. In imbricate aestivation, the margins overlap each other, but not in a very particular fashion, as in case of gulmohar. In vexillary or papilionaceous corolla, there are overall 5 petals. The largest one, which is called as the standard, overlaps the other 2 lateral petals, which are called as the wings. The wings in turn overlap 2 small anterior petals, which are called as the keel. This type of estivation is called as vexillary or papilionaceous estivation and is found in pea and bean flowers. We shall now learn some scientific terms to describe the Androecium, which is representing the male reproductive part of the flower and consists of stamens. Each stamen consists of an anther and a filament. Each anther is bilobed and each lobe has two chambers called as the pollen sacs. The pollen grains are produced in the pollen sacs. If a stamen is sterile, it is called as a staminode. When the stamens are attached to the petals, the condition is called as epipetalous, as in case of brinjal flower. But when they are attached to the perianth, it is called as epiphyllous, as in case of onion and lily. When the stamens are free, they are called as polyandrous, but they may be united to form one bundle, as in case of China rose, and such condition is called as monoadelphous. When the stamens are united to form two bundles, the condition is called as diadelphous, as seen in case of pea. And if the stamens unite to form more than two bundles, the condition is called as polyadelphous, as seen in case of citrus fruits and red silk cotton tree. Gynoecium is the female reproductive part of the flower and consists of one or more carpel. Each carpel is made up of an enlarged part which is basal and is called as the ovary, an elongated tube, the style, and the tip of the style called as the stigma, which receives the pollen grains. Each ovary bears one or more ovules attached to a flattened cushion-like structure called as the placenta. When more than one carpel are present, they may be free, as in case of lotus and rose, and the condition is called as apocarpus. When the carpels are fused together, they are called as syncarpus, as in case of mustard and tomato. After fertilization, the ovules develop into seed and the ovary matures into fruit. The arrangement of the ovules within the ovary is called as placentation. When the placenta is axial, the ovules are attached to it in a multilocular ovary, and the placentation is called as axial placentation, as seen in case of lady's finger and China rose. In case of cucumber and mustard, the placentation is parietal. In parietal placentation, the ovules develop on the peripheral part of the ovary. Due to the formation of false septum, the ovary, which is one-chambered, appears to be two-chambered. The placentation is said to be marginal if the placenta forms the ridge along the ventral suture of the ovary and the ovules are born on this ridge, forming two rows. Example in case of pea. The placentation is free central when the ovules are born on the central axis and the septa are absent. Example of free central placentation is dianthus. And if the placenta develops at the base of the ovary and a single ovule is attached to it, the placentation is called as basal. Such kind of an example is seen in marigold, where basal placentation is seen. So this is all in this video. Thank you for watching. In the next video, we shall study the fruit, the seed, and the structure of dicotyledonous and monocotyledonous seed.